Who's my cookie in 60 seconds or less? Hint number 1. This cookie has a blood relative that is also playable in-game. Some examples of these include Black Pearl Cookie and Crimson Coral Cookie, who are directly blood sisters, and Hollyberry Cookie being the grandmother of Princess Cookie and Tiger Lily Cookie. Hint number 2. This cookie is a member of the House Custard by blood. The House Custard is one of the great houses in the Creme Republic, a set of 9 powerful spheres of influence which is led by the 9 elders of the Republic. House Custard is the most powerful house as its influence is over politics. Hint number 3. This cookie is a known Vanillian descendant. Vanillians are what denizens of the Vanilla Kingdom are referred to as, and according to the wiki, has the most diverse citizens. Hint number 4. This cookie has a mostly yellow color scheme. It was named in the official game files as yellowcookie.png. And lastly, this cookie
Generation Alpha is on track to be the most troubled generation of all time, and it's not even close. This is the era of mindless consumption, extreme polarization, and soulless, meaningless junk food entertainment. From the explosion of mental illness and violent crime to rampant consumerism and alarmism,
look at your hand, it's a travesty. Lamau, finish your turn, because when you're done, I'm gonna take you down. Is it part of the
Throw in a worldwide pandemic that shut down the entire globe for months. Inflation and technology is becoming progressively more invasive, and you get a recipe that can destroy the minds and lives of millions. This is the generation of your little cousins, your younger siblings, or maybe even your kids. And while it may seem that these characteristics closely resemble those of Gen Z, there's one minor distinction that makes Gen A something that has never been seen in human history. Now, for those of you born anywhere between the 80s and the early 2000s, you might think of your life thus far in two main parts. Life without the internet and life with the internet. You recall a time when phones were actually used for talking and when computers served as a tool rather than an alternate universe. You probably spent most of your free time outside or with other people. You were fully immersed in tangible reality and your digital experiences were probably limited to a couple hours a day. Rather than scrolling through 300 different TikToks in an hour, you watched a couple episodes of your favorite show. When you were bored, you were forced to make use of your imagination or just sit there and enjoy the silence for a little while. Fast forward to 2023 and your life is probably completely different. You likely spend most of your time on a phone or computer, and while that might be problematic, it doesn't change the fact that your developmental years were spent without the presence of this invasive technology. And because of that, you have a firm comprehension of the contrast between the two eras, which allows you to quickly recognize the issues unique to modernity, even if you might fall victim to them sometimes. But what if you didn't have that point of reference? What if you were born in the last decade? What if you were thrust right into the most unstable and confusing era in human history? What would your basis for stability and normality be? This question encapsulates the one-of-a-kind situation faced by Generation Alpha, and no one seems to have an answer to it. In fact, no one has any clue how it's going to play out. And this isn't your typical case of generations pointing fingers at each other. This is an era that could see the most profound societal transformation in human history. It begins in the womb, where the development of the hypersensitive fetus is already being impacted by record levels of obesity and unnatural amounts of radiation from digital devices. Upon birth, the kid begins to observe the people around it constantly staring down at their phones, which they might come to think of as an instinctual human function for all we know. Upon reaching 6 months old, babies already have an understanding of the basics of a touchscreen, with a third of babies under the age of 1 displaying the ability to swipe. If you've been around a baby recently, you know that they are completely infatuated with smartphones. They tend to have far more interest in screens than any other toy. And this makes perfect sense considering the fact that the luminescent, interactive world of a phone screen is simply unlike anything else. The lights, sounds, and rapid movements are unbelievably stimulating to a baby's brain. By the age of 5 or 6, most kids already have their own iPads, which renders the rest of their toys completely useless. This is where they first encounter the confusing and detached world of the internet, where they will spend around 6 hours a day scrolling through mindless short-form content or watching other people play with toys. And if their parents didn't take the time to enable a child lock, it's likely they'll come across something that even adults find scarring. And you obviously can't expect the kid to be able to moderate themselves, which is why it's the parent's responsibility. But this can be much harder than it sounds. You see, having a smartphone has become standard for children as young as 7. Because of this, the entire culture of this generation is dictated by the internet. Everything they talk about or do for fun is sourced from the internet. So the one kid whose parents wouldn't buy them a phone is bound to be an outcast from the 2nd grade. Their ability to converse, socialize, and play is limited since they don't have access to the digital world that all the other kids are living in. And we know what excessive internet use does to adults, so we can only assume the impact would be much harsher on young children. But we also know how terrible social isolation can be, especially at a young age. So this leaves parents with a hard choice. Either they expose their 7-year-old to the brain rot of the internet, or they shield them from it and inhibit their ability to develop socially. Okay, fast forward to the current day, where the oldest of Gen A is about 13 years old. While many kids at this point will have had some level of developmental impairment, the real damage has yet to be done. Around this age is the time when many kids start to develop worldviews, opinions, and identities. They begin to comprehend some of the underlying dynamics of society and human nature, and naturally, their curiosity directs them towards the internet. And while the internet can be good for this, it has a far greater potential to ruin it. The internet is filled with useful information and resources. It's completely smothered by masses of sensationalist garbage that's designed to hijack your emotions and get your click. Now, we adults fall for this all the time, so why wouldn't young children? The algorithm isn't going to serve them something educational or appropriate for their age. It's going to serve them a fresh batch of mind-numbing waste. It's going to serve them the same content that everyone else clicked on. And due to the nature of the internet, this is almost always something that's crafted to be as shocking and stimulating as possible. Or in other words, something that doesn't align with reality. And this works a lot like a drug. It's fast-paced, interesting, and gives you full control. As long as you keep swiping, it keeps delivering. It offers everything that reality lacks and more. And since Gen A has been exposed to this world from such a young age, its effects will have a much longer time to incubate, with most of that time being during some of the most important years of mental development. As a
Be anyone you want to be. Join TikTok's gaming community today.
result, Gen A will likely see a much bigger spike in mental illness than Gen Z, and at a much younger age.
Gusto mo mag-checkout pero wala pang payday? Sagot ka namin with
Everything from depression to anxiety will be more rampant than ever. The less common disorder among Gen Z, known as internet psychosis, will likely become more widespread among Gen A. And everything only gets worse from here. You see, one of the coping mechanisms we have for the illness and emptiness caused by our modern habits is to double down and dive deeper. And through this, many people actually find an outlet. Enter the toxic wastelands of Twitter and Reddit. Some of the people who need help the most come to these sites in search of an identity and fulfillment. In doing so, they come across a vast array of different political and cultural rabbit holes. Eventually, they find one appealing enough and allow it to completely take control of their identity and personality. And this is what has caused political and cultural discourse to become so diluted and polarizing. When a person's entire identity is completely reliant on certain ideas or beliefs, a simple questioning of those beliefs is an attack on them as a human being. And this problem will only be worse with Gen A down the line. Gen A doesn't know what the more tame political climate of the past looks like. They weren't around for the time when most people didn't really care or think about politics at all. By 2016, the oldest of Gen A was 6, and they got to witness the unprecedented 2016 election. Everything that has happened since 2016 is the only experience or knowledge they have about politics, which will heavily shape how they view it as they mature. And this will have massive implications down the line. Gen A will likely turn out to be even more radical and zealous than Gen Z, and the internet will be their main outlet of expressing it. And those who manage to avoid this trap won't have it much easier. As society becomes more divided and polarized, it becomes harder for those floating in between to find meaning and a sense of community. Because of this, Gen A will also be more nihilistic than Gen Z. And while this is terrible for us, not everyone loses here. Modern corporations stand to profit massively from this. If you take a generation suffering from mental illness, meaninglessness, and the inability to critically think, and you pair it with the fact that it's the largest generation in human history, you get something that corporate America could only dream of. Corporations have already taken note of this with Gen Z, using the masses of data they produce through their excessive social media use in order to make advertising more predatory and mind-reading. And this has worked fantastically for them. But in many ways, Gen Z is simply just a warm-up for Gen A. Since Gen A will spend even more time scrolling, they will produce even more data for corporations, which will then be used to make advertising even more effective. So as Gen A matures and enters the workforce, consumer spending and corporate profits will soar even higher. The mental instability paired with large swaths of data at corporations' disposal will make business easier than ever. As a result, the inflation-induced poverty we see today will only continue to get worse. Consumerism and materialism will be more prevalent than ever, but not in the traditional sense. You see, in the past, these things were exhibited through clothes, cars, houses, and jewelry. But that was back in the 2010s when people valued reality over the digital world.
Why me? Let's see what this is.
2024 was yet another year full of
Gen Alpha is the first generation of humans to be born with access to mobile technology. By the age of 2, many Gen Alpha toddlers can already interact with these devices in meaningful ways beyond watching CoComelon on YouTube. They can navigate the app menu and even play some simple games. How will this level of access and proficiency with technology shape Gen Alpha? And how will Gen Alpha, in turn, change the world? I want to acknowledge that generations are a strange concept. Grouping people in a roughly 15-year age range into one definable set of characteristics seems reductive in most cases, but there are some instances where this distinction is useful. Generations help group people who experienced and reacted to the same historical and social events within a specific time period, and the truth is that these factors unify people to an extent. When discussing how people are handling the rising cost of housing, for example, generations are a useful shorthand to demonstrate that one group of people will experience this phenomenon very differently than others. Generation Alpha, specifically, is the generation that follows Gen Z, consisting of individuals born between 2010 and 2025. Most of them are still kids, with the oldest ones becoming just teenagers, while the last of them are still being born as we speak. How can we possibly know that they'll change the world when they've yet to learn how to work a part-time job or drive a car? While we can't know for sure what changes they'll bring, we do know of one major factor that influences a generation like no other: technology. We often think of technology as another way for us to express ourselves and our will. However, the 20th century philosopher Marshall McLuhan describes it differently and perhaps more accurately. McLuhan is most well known for this line: "The medium is the message." What he means by this is that the media format has more significant effects on us than the actual content of the message being sent. The format media takes changes our relationships with the message and each other. It conditions us in a specific way. In the words of McLuhan, we shape our tools and then our tools shape us. The technology that we develop shares our lives and how we interact with each other in fundamental ways.
Just like how in-video AI is trying to be on the better ethical side of tech, by helping people transform their creativity into videos.
One of the questions I get asked the most is, how can I start making videos like yours? Years ago when I started, that answer would have been very difficult and cumbersome, but not anymore thanks to in-video AI, the video co-pilot I wish I had when I started. With in-video AI, you can say goodbye to editing timelines because you can easily create and edit videos with simple text prompts. All you have to do is give it a prompt for the type of video you want. The more detailed the prompt is, the better. And afterwards, select the audience and platform of your video. Then in-video AI will create an engaging script, find high-quality, relevant footage, add subtitles, and even a human-sounding voiceover to give you the first cut of your video in any language.
Have you ever wondered what lurks in the darkest corners of space? If you don't like horror but love space, then this is for you.
From there, you can give it simple text commands to make edits to your video. You don't like the style of the subtitles? Ask it to change it. Want a different intro? Ask the AI to start the video in a different way. It will understand all of your commands and make the desired changes. The best part about it is that with in-video AI, you can upload a 30-second recording of your voice in any language, and it will clone your voice. So you only have to record your voice once and use it in any video moving forward. You can get started with in-video for free and create up to 4 videos a week. But if you want to clone your voice and create videos without a watermark, then I highly recommend you get the paid plan that starts as low as $20 a month and use code APERTURE50 to get twice the number of video generation credits in your first month. It gives you access to all the AI tools as well as millions of royalty-free stock footage clips, your own voiceover, and a video editor, all of which will cost you hundreds of dollars if you source them individually. Back to our story. Excessive screen use literally changes the gray and white matter in young children's brains. It reduces their literacy, their ability to speak, and their comprehension. Families interact less with each other and more with screens. This was true when TVs entered the living room, and it's far worse now thanks to mobile technology. As Gen Alpha gets older, they're being introduced to a medium that has shaped us more than anything else since the dawn of humankind. They're growing up as kids with social media accounts, which will drastically change how they see each other and themselves.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Almost everywhere online, you'll notice videos, articles, and news clips talking about Gen Z becoming poorer, and we've even done
You got exactly what you want. I got exactly what I wanted. I was inspired enough.
Hello there, before we start this video, I want you all to go subscribe to my friend BarneyHunter12. He's basically the cafe troll these days, and also voiced Commander Skull in my Roblox movie. YouTube's kind of screwing him out of his silver play button right now, and he needs subscribers as one way to fix the problem, so please go subscribe to him. Y'all will enjoy his content, and also help him get that silver play button, so please go check him out. Way back in the day, Roblox allowed everyone to have infinite amounts of friends. There were no limits or restrictions at all. You didn't have to think about who you friended or have to unfriend someone just to add a new friend. You were totally free to friend whoever, whenever. I remember this game specifically, Zombies at School, being a hotspot where everyone would friend each other no matter what. It allowed players to keep in touch with more people, and if you had closer friends, you could add up to 200 of them to a best friends list. Then, on February 4th, 2015, Roblox decided to gut the friends feature and introduced the 200 friend limit and the followers feature that we all know. It was immediately controversial back then due to restricting how many friends you could have, and it remained a talking point to this day. Nobody wanted to abide by these limitations and restraints barring you from connecting with others. We all just wanted to be free like before. Well, we're closer than ever to being back to what it was prior to 2015, as Roblox has raised the friends limit to 1,000. Roblox began teasing this last year and slowly raised the limit a bit for some, until releasing the new 1,000 friend limit for everyone. It's not the infinite amount of friends like we had before, but it's still a much needed increase that we've all been waiting years for. It has basically been a decade in the making, and people are overjoyed with being able to friend more people, for most users the first time ever. Having 1,000 friends is a plus in all aspects, as it helps boost player connection and engagement without damaging anything else in the process. We meet so many people when we play Roblox, so it makes sense that we'd encounter a lot of people we're cool with, and now we can keep in touch with more of them. I doubt Roblox will raise the limits above 1,000 anytime soon, and honestly probably won't ever if I had to guess, but you never know. Raising the friend limit to 1,000 is super basic yet super important, and the massively positive reactions prove to how big of a deal this really is. I'm shocked it took Roblox 10 years to do this, but hey, late is better than never, and nobody really seems to care about how long it took, as everyone is just happy. There's not much else to say, so I'll leave it at that, but comment your usernames below for no reason because Cow is still terminated, so I can't friend anyone. Roblox is currently having a severe problem with bots invading games to collect and farm rewards that are being sold for real-life money. As you may know, tons of huge games are currently full of bots like Pet Simulator, Murder Mystery 2, Please Donate, and many other popular games. These bots are usually sitting in-game or flying around via exploits to collect transferable rewards that they can then sell on eBay or other black markets. To show you how many bots there are, a typical concurrent player chart constantly dips due to most players not being active during certain times of the day. Then we have Pet Simulator 99's concurrent player chart, which is nearly flatlined because it's full of bots who constantly sit in the game and never leave. There's a really strong chance that there are hundreds of thousands of these mindless droids farming rewards in these popular games as we speak. And keep in mind, some of these bots aren't throwaway bacon hairs, they're hacked accounts or real people like this Murder Mystery 2 Prestige 10 account with limiteds. It's an extremely widespread problem that was recently brought to the forefront by Creecraft, who made a really good vid on it that y'all should watch once we're done here. What I want to do is talk about some of the lesser known things about these bots, my recent history on them, and why I think Roblox probably likes this problem. In-game bots aren't anything new. They've been around since I think 2018, but with several periods of time where Roblox seemed to effectively patch them. I would say the modern bots we see join games to do more than spam chat with scams started popping up around 2022, with the Paris World bots being a good example. Those bots joined and rejoined the Roblox partnered game when big updates happened, possibly so it'd have concurrent players or more visits to make it look active. Oddly, a lot of the same bots that botted Paris World in 2022 also invaded other Roblox partnered games like Tim Hortons Town and iHeartland. Their involvement in multiple Roblox partnered brand games is definitely pretty bizarre, and we'll be mentioning it again shortly. None of this visit boosting or reward farming should happen, yet it is unbelievably common these days. Like, it's believed 90% of all Pet Simulator 99 players are bots. It makes you wonder how this has gone on for so long, and if Roblox plans to do anything to address these black market and performance boosting botters. They have the money and the power to stop them, and they have before, yet we're seeing thousands upon thousands of them in games right now. So what's going on? Well, if you want my honest opinion, I don't expect Roblox to do anything to prevent them, and I think they may actually like the botting problem. Obviously, I can't confirm any of that, but there is a lot of ideas and evidence to back the theory that Roblox may indeed be okay with the existence of all these bots. The farm bots actually have positive effects for Roblox as a company, while not being harmful to them or risking huge PR disasters and bad press. Thousands upon thousands of bots sit in games for hours and sometimes even days at a time or constantly rejoin games, inflating both playtime and total visits. They're heavily contributing to the amount of users and user activity, which Roblox apparently factors into their user metric reports. Roblox keeps on hitting new concurrent user records, which is often being reported towards investors despite the high probability that bots are a key factor. Roblox shouldn't be including bots in their analytics because they're not real people, but they supposedly do, according to this Hindenburg research article. It's not really fair or logical to include non-thinking droid activity in their numbers, but I could see why they would because of the effects they end up having. Bots are boosting Roblox's metrics like crazy while not harming them much, if at all, which is something Roblox is probably a big fan of. At the end of the day, the higher the numbers, the happier their investors are, and the more investor money Roblox rakes in, which Roblox probably doesn't want to stop. Bots have also been used to boost performance numbers of Roblox partnered brand games on multiple occasions, such as iHeartland as seen in these charts. iHeartland jumped from 100 to over 4,000 daily visits for 9 days on literally 0 to 10 concurrent players last October and had an 11-hour average session time in November 2023. The higher the engagement numbers, the happier the brands are. Then Roblox can use those numbers and the brand success to bring in other brands. Although botting is obviously bad for the community and a bannable offense, it provides numerous positives for the Roblox company while not being much of a PR risk. I highly doubt Roblox is going to do anything to prevent these bots because of all that, and one other major issue that backs the theory. Child safety is obviously a much more serious and potentially damaging issue for both Roblox players and Roblox's reputation. In that Hindenburg article, an ex-Roblox employee claimed that Roblox sacrificed the safety of children so they could report user growth to investors. If Roblox is willing to risk child safety and bad press from it to report better user metrics, do you think they'd be worried about problems arising from bots? Roblox is apparently so obsessed with user metrics that they sacrifice user safety to improve them, so there's like zero chance they'll stop something less dangerous that also helps them. I can't guarantee or confirm anything, but I do think it's highly probable that Roblox likes the existence of bots due to their contribution to user engagement metrics. It's a low-risk option that massively boosts the metrics that help Roblox get more money, so why would Roblox ever want to stop it? It's bad for the community, but Roblox has shown a lack of care for us, so do you really think they're going to stop bots for our sake when it helps them? These huge botting problems provide Roblox with increased user metrics while having little to no negative effects on their reputation or operations. For that reason, I do not believe Roblox will do anything to prevent this bot invasion and will instead have to rely on the devs to prevent their spread. Right when I finished putting this together, Roblox literally just happened to release an interesting statement regarding the botting issues on the dev forums. They talk about how they want to tackle things like account farming, exploiting, and automated play, aka botting, and how they plan to do it, which is where things get weird. 2 of Roblox's 3 initiatives are the ban API, improving its alt detection, which most likely won't be able to cover bots, and improving its kernel systems, which tells us nothing. Then there's the first solution, which is an AI model to detect and block abnormal behavior, targeting the responsible accounts and their alts. Apparently, this AI model has been tested with select devs and it's successfully detected and stopped enhanced and automated activity, but hasn't been launched. Roblox's 3 initiatives here are very vague and don't provide any immediate solutions, nor are they giving users much optimism. Dev forum users tend to be more positive than those you'd see on Twitter or YouTube, so the early responses being so skeptical is kinda telling. Improving internal systems is a meaningless statement, and the ban API is fantastic for banning individual users but can't do much against hundreds of thousands of bots. The only option that sounds possibly effective is this AI model, which apparently works but almost sounds too good to be true. It apparently targets the responsible accounts and their alts. So you're telling us it's able to find all the bots and the botter's main account too? Can we really trust AI moderation to effectively remove hundreds of thousands of bots and the source of the bots while not banning innocent users like we've seen AI do before? It has also apparently been testing for a while, supposedly works, and is receiving updates, so why hasn't Roblox released it yet? Maybe it's because it doesn't actually work. Maybe it's not even real, or maybe Roblox doesn't want to release it so bots can continue to improve their metrics. This entire statement doesn't provide any immediate fixes or reason to believe we're going to see any in the near future. It feels like another random response trying to ease concerns and fan down the flames rather than actually help devs and players get rid of bots. The top reply mentions how Roblox probably won't do anything because bots increase concurrent user counts and that this is all for public relations, and that's exactly how I feel. Roblox doesn't provide any immediate or effective solutions despite having the money, power, and experience to take down bots, making this all feel like PR fluff. This dev forum post hasn't changed my opinion at all. I still don't expect Roblox to stop the bots
look at your hands,
because
it's
they effortlessly increase Roblox's user metrics without being a PR risk.
Look at your hand, it's a trap. Oh yeah, look at your hand, it's a travesty. Lamau. Oh yeah, look at your hand. Oh yeah, look at your hand, it's a travesty. Lamau. Finish your turn, cause when you're done I'm gonna take you down. Is it part of the meta that you're getting totally crushed? Oh my god, you suck. Hey, don't be a loser, baby chicken, but you gotta keep it up. Keep it up. You got the win, so get your head. Oh yeah, look at your hand. Oh yeah, look at your. Oh yeah, look at your hand, it's a travesty. Lamau. Finish your turn, cause when you're done I'm gonna take you down. Is it part of the meta that you're getting totally crushed? Oh my god, you suck. Hey, don't be a loser, baby chicken, but you gotta keep it up. Keep it up. You got the win, so get your head in the game. Just show me what you got. Oh no, poor baby, need a wipey and some poopies in your diaper. It's alright, we know already. You're a little wuss. It's funny. You're actually garbage. I told you when we started. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Si Toto, ilang araw nang may sakit, pabalik-balik pa. Immunity gap na yan. Help stop immunity gap. Pag may sakit, ituloy lang ang Celine Plus. Tulong para bumalik ang 100% immunity. Mag-Celine Plus kahit may sakit.
Unilab yan.
Ching, ching, snack a ching. Ching, ching, snack a ching sa McDo. May barya, 39 lang may snack ka na. At 25 may side ka pa. Yeah! Ching, ching, snack a ching sa McDo.
While history's most defining moments may be depicted by military strength, acts of valor, or the greed of those corrupted, the reality is unfortunately far more sinister, one that formed the very foundation for life today, continuing to act as the invisible hand guiding our every move. This is propaganda. Although propaganda has been a powerful force throughout history, Its first widespread and systematic use in the modern era occurred during World War I. Prior to the United States intervention, President Woodrow Wilson firmly advocated for U.S. neutrality towards foreign conflicts, a stance that played a significant role in his narrow re-election in 1916, under the slogan, "He kept us out of war." However, just 5 months after his re-election, the United States entered World War I, prompted by Germany's violation to suspend unrestricted submarine warfare and its attempts to form an alliance with Mexico. Wilson's re-election slogan ultimately masked a far deeper ambition, but one that would not be gained through battlefield victories, but through a psychological campaign against his own nation. While some military officials called for strict censorship of the anti-war press, George Creel, a journalist and former commissioner of the Denver Police Department, proposed a different approach. A comprehensive propaganda campaign, shifting American values and promoting patriotism in pursuit of Wilson's vision of a new world order, and as a hero of democracy. Wilson, impressed by this strategy, appointed Creel to head the newly established Committee on Public Information. Creel assembled a team.
Hi guys! In today's video, I'm going to be doing an Instagram recommended slime review. In a controversial change recently, they've done a really big shopping tab as one of the main features. So I thought to make it better and fun, I would go ahead and try some of the slime shops that came up in my recommended, and I hope that you enjoy this video. One of the main things I noticed was the bigger shops do come up first on the shopping tab. So the first one that came up was Momo Slimes. Not only am I a huge honey fan, I'm also a huge DIY clay slime fan, and this was just my perfect composition. I was really surprised to find out that the base was actually a thick and jiggly slime rather than being a thick base like I'm used to in slimes, but this worked so well. The clay was also so soft on her page, so I
Please forgive me for not making an update video about the Kai drama. I don't want to talk about a guy who calls people Nazis. This is something real that he posted on Discord, by the way. Okay, so I'm a 100% object show channel.
The date is October 17th, 2024. A mysterious video titled Version 1 is uploaded by a channel named Rochez313. It's of a Roblox player with the same name touring his new place. But what he doesn't realize is that something is growing, or in other words, a spreading living parasite within his Roblox game. This channel has 14 videos in total, ranging from really long to really short, so we're in for a real treat with this channel. Let's not waste any time with this introduction. Let's begin with the first entry. The video starts with Rochez313 on an empty map. He begins the introduction to the video. He says hello, his name, and he mentions that this is a tour of his brand new game that him and his friend Cappy0 have been working on. I put quotations on working on because there's barely anything in the game. He mentions that this game is a work in progress, but he shows us the things in the game now. For example, a house with nothing in it, a garden, and a campsite with seats that don't work. Like always, the first video doesn't have much content in it. It just introduces us to the main character. Rochez asks people in the comments to tell him what he should put in the game. He should add some trees. This video introduces the person mentioned in the last video, Cappy0. As we can see, the two of them have updated the game since the last entry. And look, they added tree. Cappy0 mentions, as we already know, they've worked on the game since the last entry, and here's what they've added. They added something inside the house, they updated the camp, which the seats are still glitched. The video ends with Cappy0 stating, "We are still making it as cool as possible so we can release it to you guys." In the description of the video, we get some information of the two of them. He apologizes if they misspell certain words because English isn't their first language. That's cool. After that, it's the end of the video. This video is filmed without Cappy. The reason is because he's sick, as mentioned in the description. They didn't seem to add much to the game. They added a lemonade stand and a cool dock over a small pond. The last thing that Rochez mentions is this empty area of the game, asking us what he should put here. But when he says this, something weird happens. This video has subtitles. When he says this, a hexadecimal code shows up. It translates to a YouTube video link. The YouTube video link takes us to an unlisted video, which is the next entry on the channel. Looking at the video's description, it has the same date as the last video. This means that it happened at the same time. We get proof of this once we glance to the left side of the screen. We see Rochez filming his intro for version 3. This video is very creepy. It has weird audio playing in the background. He begins to type in chat. Hello YouTube, today I'm going to make a tour of the second version of the house. After this, he begins to speak a second language, which is Portuguese. These translations may be wrong for the record. I apologize to my Portuguese viewers. Darn it, I said it wrong. I'll have to restart. This sucks. I wonder what I could add to that empty space. I'm gonna talk with Cappy. He's much better at building than me, XD. This video gives me the odd feeling that something's up. There's something in this game watching him, waiting for him. We're seeing the perspective of whatever's coming in the future. And from this point of view, it isn't looking good for Rochez. Let's move to the next entry.
Have we always had this tree out there?
Yes.
I need to be more observant.
As mentioned in the last video, Rochez wanted to ask Cappy Zero about what they should put in this space. Cappy says that he doesn't have any ideas, but he recommends looking at the comments. However, none of the ideas fit their liking. Cappy then mentions something. He brings up that the game has been having lag issues. He mentions frames per second drops as well as the game freezing, but they have no idea what's causing it. But then they get their answer. A large tree spawns out of nowhere. After this, the video ends abruptly. This is what was watching Rochez earlier. As suggested in the title of the video, the seed of the tree was watching.
Luxury, very, very party hobby. Char char love cha hula. Let's get this party started right.
From being accused of making a Roblox farming simulator to promoting gambling to kids, these games that were once loved by many have now become the most hated. And today we'll be covering them, starting with the game that teaches gambling to children, Pet Simulator. Developed by Big Games, Pet Simulator is the first game of the Pet Simulator franchise where players collect, trade, and hatch pets from loot boxes called eggs, using the in-game currency. Even though the game was pretty repetitive, with the players mainly having to use their pets to farm for coins, the game became a massive success, eventually reaching 1.1 billion visits. But after a while, Preston decided it's time and decided to release a sequel of the first game, Pet Simulator 2. Although it initially faced some backlash, the game fairly managed to thrive, but was no way close to the original game. Seeing this, Preston would release the third sequel of the franchise, Pet Simulator X, which took over the platform by storm, bringing in billions of visits. Even though the game was slowly turning into a pay-to-win experience, fans still loved it as the game had all the features which were addictively fun and simple. However, months after its release, Preston would land on his first controversy for selling something that many found seriously disturbing. Before we continue with the rest of the video, it would really mean a lot if you could subscribe, as we are so close to 50,000 subscribers. On November 10th, 2021, the official handle of Big Games dropped the news that they're adding NFTs to the game, which was met with intense backlash from the players. This was a huge problem, especially considering the game's younger audience, with the price of the NFTs being as high as $3 million. But this wasn't the first time that Preston found himself in hot waters, as he would face backlash for selling overpriced plushies, followed by DMCAing a game for using squared-shaped pets. Despite all the drama, Preston went on to release the latest and final sequel of the franchise, Pet Simulator 99. Just like its predecessor, the game was an instant hit, reaching the Roblox front page in no time. But the game still faced accusations of something it had been criticized for before: teaching players gambling. Although the vast majority of pets are free to obtain, there are certain pets which can only be obtained only during specific events with a ridiculous high chance of not getting it. And one such example is the Titanic Ghostface cat, which has a probability of 0.05%. Each time a player opens the egg, there's only a 1 in 2,000 chance to actually obtain it. This means the players likely need to open hundreds or even thousands of eggs to finally get the pet. And that's after spending a lot of Robux, which is bought using real money, which in short is nothing but gambling specially made for children. The same sentiment is resonated by other players, with some stating, "It's sad how companies take advantage of kids. Like these news things where kids got a hold of their parents' bank accounts and went mad crazy spending Robux everywhere." As of now, things don't really seem to change much with Pet Simulator, as it still reigns the platform thanks to its loyal fanbase. But the next game on the list is simply failing to keep up with its competition due to a lack of updates. Developed by Coeptus and later acquired by Embracer Group, Welcome to Bloxburg is a life simulation and RPG created in 2014. Inspired by The Sims, the game officially became free to play on June 15th, 2024. Despite the game becoming free, the players have lost interest, leaving many shocked by the rising disappointment among the players, with one of the reasons being the fact that many had already bought the game. Even though there are many reasons behind the downfall of the game, the one that stands out the most is the lack of updates. Ever since the game became free, the updates are not up to mark with little to no changes. This has left the players furious, with many showing dissatisfaction to the developers, creating a toxic environment for both parties. With many content creators shifting their focus to other games, Bloxburg is struggling badly. So badly that even the new Halloween update isn't doing better either. In the recent Halloween update, the players have complained about the ghost hunting event being full of bugs, and the addition of the ticket system has split the community into two groups, with some supporting this change while others outright calling it a bad idea. As another player shared, these updates aren't really what players are looking for. The huge updates cause so many bugs and can be really disappointing when the best suggestions or most problematic issues are not fixed or added to the game. I think the devs just need to tone it down a little. While Bloxburg still holds a special place in people's hearts, the next game on the list is failing despite recently winning the Best Shooter Experience Award. Developed by Rolv, Arsenal is a first-person shooter game that was inspired by Arms Race, a game mode from the popular FPS game CSGO. It was released on August 18th, 2015, but it wasn't until 2018 when the game really started to pick up steam, after Rolv revamped the game by using a new game engine, bringing in new mechanics and enhanced gameplay. This move turned out to be a massive game changer, pushing the active player base up to 5,000 players. In 2020, Arsenal hit its peak, averaging 40,000 players, and even spiking to 80,000 concurrent players during major updates. It's safe to say that it was by far the golden year for Arsenal. However, things got a bit rocky a year after their revamp. As the players started to slowly drift to other games, the developers decided to release spoilers of their upcoming update with new features like map builder, new game modes, and destruction physics, which kept the players excited. But when the long-awaited summer update was finally released, fans were left disappointed to find most of their promised features missing. Despite the update being a major one, as it was released after 5 months of waiting, it was overshadowed by the fact that the developers blatantly lied to their players. As time went on, the game became repetitive as the updates had little to no changes, with the player base dropping and struggling to even hit 5,000 active users. But there's still hope for Arsenal, as the recent Halloween update has got a lot of support from the players for bringing back the fan favorite Railgun Royale and other items, which has opened doors for their awaited comeback. But the same can't be said about the next game on the list, which has become a shell of its former past as it struggles to even get 3,000 players despite having a whopping 7 billion visits. All-Star Tower Defense is a popular tower defense game where players defend against hordes of enemies by summoning anime characters from shows like Naruto, Demon Slayer, and other popular shows. Despite being a popular tower defense game in the anime genre in Roblox, the game is facing a lot of criticism mostly due to its lack of updates. Initially, the game dropped massive updates and players flocked to play the game as it was ruling the genre. But as time passed by, the developers became lazy, and the updates were constantly delayed for weeks and even months. When the developers finally released it, the game still lacked fresh content, with the updates barely making any difference from the previous ones. Also, throwing in characters like 24K Golden and Ice Spice in an anime defense game has also left players scratching their heads with what anime even means for this game. The players have also spoken up regarding the power creep system, as most of the older units simply become irrelevant after the new units get released, forcing the players to go for the newer units as soon as they're out. Not only that, the rise of other anime tower defense games like Anime Defenders and Anime Vanguards is giving tough competition as the new games have better graphics, as well as smooth and engaging gameplay. This has pushed players to hop onto these games instead of sticking with ASTD's old and clunky gameplay, which barely manages to hit the 3,000 player mark. And so is Royal High, which is under a lot of criticism for becoming a quick cash grab instead of what it used to be. Originally released as Fairies and Mermaids Winx High School, Royal High is a fantasy roleplay game with players taking the role of students, where they can dress up, socialize, and attend classes in a magical high school. With a detailed fantasy-themed setting with elements like castles, fairies, and princesses, the game kept the players hooked as an escape from reality. The game gradually went on to become one of the most popular roleplay games, racking more than 10 billion visits. However, the game has shifted away from its core role-playing experience, turning into what many call a diamond farming simulator. The developer of the game, Call Me Bob, started to add overpriced game passes and items as the game slowly became a pay-to-win experience, making it impossible for normal players to get their favorite dress or any other stuff. The in-game currency diamonds, which were easily obtainable initially, have now lost their value due to the increase in prices of the items. This has created a toxic cycle, where players must either invest a lot of time or burn cash to get what they want. As one player put it, "One of the things I hate about Royal High, in my opinion, is how expensive the sets are." While another player commenting, "Definitely shifted from a beginner-friendly buy things as you roleplay game into a farming game where the only way to afford things is to buy the multipliers and do quests mindlessly for hours. It's kinda crazy." This has left many players frustrated and have called out the developers for destroying it by making it into a quick cash grab. And to make matters worse, the devs are also under scrutiny for treating some of their content creators horribly by having their badges removed for criticizing the game. Even the updates that are rolled by the developers are labeled as outright boring, which has led to a massive drop in the player count, with many shifting to games like Berry Avenue, Livetopia, and Dress to Impress. The developer of Royal High is plagued with allegations of making the game pay to win. The next game we're talking about has made many lose their minds due to its lack of innovation and repetitive gameplay. Created and developed by VCafe, Dungeon Quest is an RPG game where players explore dungeons and fight against waves of monsters, with the player obtaining in-game currency, gold. The game also has different game modes, classes, boss raids, and more, with the players having the option of going solo or forming a party. And with time, it became one of the most successful dungeon-based games, with the developers rolling out massive updates from seasonal events to adding legendary gears, keeping the excitement high within the community. However, everything changed in July 2023, when the game development group, Voldex, officially acquired Dungeon Quest. This sent shockwaves into the community, as Voldex had a reputation for shifting games to a pay-to-win model, just like their previous games. But surprisingly, this wasn't the reason behind their downfall as one would predict. Rather, it was something that many games are a victim of: repetitive content. As time went on, the players started complaining about the game being repetitive, as it required them to grind non-stop for better gear and unlock new dungeons. This left many annoyed, as they had to replay the same dungeon over and over. The gameplay became monotonous, especially for the ones who enjoyed something new, rather than the same rinse and repeat cycle which the game is accused of. And not to forget, the highly imbalanced nature of the game has made it a lot less exciting, with the active player base steadily falling day by day. Even with all the troubles, Dungeon Quest still pulls in an average of 10,000 players. However, the next game on the list literally destroyed its reputation, from being the fastest growing game on Roblox to being called the most notorious pay-to-win game that the platform has ever seen. Developed by the Wiggity Group, Blade Ball is a popular action game where players must survive by deflecting the ball before getting hit. The game quickly went on to amass millions of players, racking a total of over 1 billion visits in less than 3 months after their launch. And with time, the game grew more and more as content creators started posting memes and videos about the game, hitting a total of 4.5 billion visits. Initially, the game was enjoyed by many, but things took a turn for the worse as the developers started to get greedy. The game slowly turned its back against its casual players, who couldn't afford tens of thousands of Robux. Even though there were skins and abilities that were free to use, it looked more like a cheap knockoff which the developers knew that they couldn't sell for Robux. This is especially true for new players, who get in the game and start grinding to improve their skills, only to end up facing players who have a ton of powerful abilities, like Infinity, that you can gain only by spending Robux through spins. This is super discouraging for the players, especially for the ones who play for fun and are not interested in spending a ton of money to get an unfair advantage. On top of that, the game is also criticized for copying another Roblox game, Deflect, which was released on September 12th, 2022. Around a year after it was officially released, combined with the toxic community which Blade Ball is known for, has fueled the downfall. Even though the game still hosts an average of 20,000 active players, it's nowhere close to what it was at its all-time peak.
Oh yeah? Look at your hand, it's a travesty. Lamau, finish your turn, cause when you're done I'm gonna... Oh yeah? Look at your...
Yo guys, what's up? Do you know what we haven't looked at in a few weeks? Roblox accessory news. Yeah, we've got quite a bit of accessory stuff to cover. I've been waiting for a bit more news to pop up before making a video about this kind of stuff, so yeah, let's take a look. So this is the first news. Roblox have done another one of their special events, as they call them. It is basically just a limited time only, and yeah, time only, not actually limited. So now you can get the Crimson Firecracker Snake. This is to celebrate Chinese New Year, and this item goes off sale on the 2nd of February. Now I just want to say to you guys, this is not free, which is kind of sad because Roblox have sort of ruined their tradition of always bringing out a free Chinese New Year item. I did buy this thing. It was like 140 Robux, whatever the back accessory price floor is. It's like this firecracker snake tail thing. Actually, it's not even a tail, is it? It's just like a, yeah, what even is that? It just like comes out of your avatar's like back or something, or spine. I don't flipping know. It's okay. No special effects or anything. If you want it, I'll link it down below. It's just a shame it's not free. So the next thing I want to talk about is the Blazing Frost Crown. I had a couple of people asking me what this was for. I think Roblox probably uploaded this like a week ago or something. It's pretty much like a modern take on the Ice Crown, but it's not transparent and it's no way near as cool. But this thing was actually given to developers which made the Winter Spotlight event. Roblox uploaded this quicker than I thought, because I remember the pumpkin thing for the Haunt event, that took them ages to upload. Anyway, yeah, if you saw this on the marketplace or whatever, and you were wondering what it was, well, it's just a developer's item. On the subject of developer items as well, did I cover this before? I think I did. The Korean Lucky Pouch. I think I said I wasn't going to bother getting it. You had to like fill out this form in Korean or something. Well, if you did it correctly, Roblox literally just gave it to everyone. So yeah, you'd probably know if you got it because they gave it to people the other day. It's an okay item. I guess it's kind of rare. It's just a little bit mid, and that's why I just couldn't be bothered to get it. In other news, guys, apparently Samsung might be making a Roblox event with a free item. We don't really know. So this thing was leaked. Roblox Event Leaks posted it, and I did see this accessory over on the marketplace. It's been there for a while, I think. Yeah, it's called the Galaxy Chain, a Galaxy Chain from Samsung. It looks kind of cool. I don't really know what they're going to do. Are they going to give this away as like a code in a live stream or something? Honestly, I'm not really a fan of Samsung phones. I never have been. I've always just thought the quality of them was a bit naff, just a bit crap, you know? If I'm using Android, I would definitely pick a Google Pixel over a Samsung, but yeah. Still though, I guess the chain's kind of cool. It's not bad, just like this blue Galaxy chain thing. Actually, it doesn't even fit my avatar that well, and you can't even scale neck accessories, can you? So, okay, yeah, maybe this thing does kind of suck. If it is free in the future, maybe I'll cover it though. Up next, guys, we've got some sad news. One of the free accessories has gone off sale. But this was so funny because this was the warm pretzel back snacker. Why do I remember this having a different name? I don't know, maybe I'm going crazy. Anyway, yeah, this was supposed to go off sale in like October 2023 or something, like ages ago. It turns out it was on sale for like 464 days after it was planned to go off sale. Roblox just forgot about it. So if you didn't get it, RIP, but to be honest, you had an extension of 464 days. So if you didn't get it, you can blame yourself. That's your own problem.